Hi, my name is Adriel William, and today's video is for all the individuals who are planning to apply to a dental school in the US or are already in a dental school and trying to figure out why dental school loans are going up and how you can pay them off. And I will talk to you a little bit about the financial system in the dental industry as well. But before I do that, one of the things I want to personally request you is that since the past 3 years, I've been making these videos. I've been trying to provide some informating and meaningful content to my viewers, individuals like you. And I would consider this to be a gentleman's promise that I will try to keep making good videos for you, one meaningful content. And if you could like this video, if you could subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram. I share a lot of good content up there as well. I'll try to keep up my end of the bargain and make meaningful content as well. So thank you for doing that. Now, coming back to the financial system of dentistry is right now, since the past 15 to 20 years, a lot of mega corporations in US, and US is mostly run by corporate system owns a lot of things. They have lobbies in the government. They get things done through businesses. So who runs US? If you want to see that, you have to see most of the corporate system has a lot of control in the government, even the people who get elected and the policies that make. And these corporate have been buying out healthcare system and dentistry as well. And in the past 15, 20 years before that, individual dentists would have its own dental practice. But now what happened, these corporates would come in and pay like $1 million more to that private dentist and say, we're going to buy out your practice. And they did that, and they bought out practices, and now they have chains. And they are able to do dentistry in a more efficient manner when it comes to businesses because they are more business oriented. And take it as it is, for good or bad, this is how the things have been changing in dentistry in the US. So clinics are not mostly owned by dentists. They are owned by big businesses like Amazon. I'm just giving you example, like Warren Buffett's Berkshire. So these kind of like big corporates have been buying out things. And because of this, dentistry is becoming more expensive, and a dentist license is of high value. So if you become a dentist, your license is of high value, it's of high demand. But in order to become a dentist, you have to go through schools, and the cost of going through school is going higher and higher. Few of the reasons that the school mentions is that after COVID, finding employees is very difficult, retaining them, buying PPOs, buying material, all of these things requires a lot of money, and because of this, they charge students a lot of money. But one of the things I feel is that, yes, these things are very expensive, but still the way the cost of dental school is going up and up is very, very much exponential. It's a lot of money. Like right now, people who would be going to 4 years of NYU conventional DDS would be coming out with $600,000 of loan, which is a lot of money. Advanced standing people who are going to University of Columbia, are paying more than $500,000 for dentistry, which is a lot of money to pay. And the other thing in US is so big that every school have decided their own tuition fee, and the living cost is different. If you go to University of Alabama, your living cost will be half as compared to if you live in New York. So even for living 2-3 years in New York, it's so expensive that your student loan goes up, and obviously your stress goes up too. So that's also one of the factors. And one of the things most schools sadly won't tell you is that I had a friend who went to a dental school, and he said during his advanced standing program, the school wanted him to pay $5,000 for a software which provides you all the dental books digitally. And this person went to his school's coordinator or supervisor, whoever it was, and said, I don't want digital books. I like to read hard books. I'll buy them myself. I don't need to pay for this software. They said, well, you don't have an option. This is part of the school's policy. As soon as you become a dental student, you have to pay $5,000 just as you pay your student fee. You have to pay for this software and buy it. Whether you use it or not, that's up to you. And when he told me, most probably we figured it out that the schools have agreements with companies. So every student will pay $5,000 to buy that software, and that company is generating a lot of business or profit through these dental students, and they give kickback or some kind of benefit back to the dental school. So it's one big business. And once you realize that, you understand that US is a capitalist country and it runs on business, and pretty much by the end of the day, education is a very solid business. So I want you to understand, before you apply, or if you're currently in a dental school, it's a business. You go in as a student and you pay. Yes, they teach you and you have a certain respect to people who teach you, but by the end of the day, it's a part of a business industry at the moment. That's how it is. Whether you like it or you hate it, I might get a backfire on my opinion right now, but I'm going to be bluntly honest with you. I'm part of this industry. I'm training students for interviews myself, and I'm part of it, and it is what it is. Now, moving forward, that the cost is going higher and higher, but another downside that is happening with dental students is most of the dental schools aren't teaching a lot of advanced procedures to them. What do I mean by that? A lot of schools, there are few schools which are good, which let you do more clinical things, but most schools will keep their GPs or their DMD and DDS student from doing complex procedures like surgical extractions. They won't let them do molar endos. They won't let you do any hands-on ortho. And when I talk to older professors, people who graduated from the same school, they said about 20 years ago, we did grafting, we would raise flaps, we would do surgical extractions, we would do molar endos, we would even do ortho. And I'm astonished that why over time, schools are letting their students learn more and more. So in dental schools, currently the trend is to make you learn more didactic thing. And if you ask doctor or your professors or supervisors that you want to do more clinical things, they will say this is something you do in GPR or go into a specialization or take CE courses once you get graduated. And you're thinking that I'm paying more money now and getting less clinical education. What's going on? And I'm going to be a little bit more honest about you. I talk to a lot of older dentists. I ask specialists, why is this happening? Like 20 years ago, you were being taught more, and now that your students are being taught less. And most of people won't tell you this upfront, but they said a lot of specialists, they are donors to the school. And when they donate money to schools, they tell them not to teach a lot of complex procedures to the GP. So in return of that, the schools, and I'm not taking any names, I'm just saying most of the schools, what they would do is they will teach their students that, okay, refer this. If you see any complex procedure, just refer it to the specialist. Just refer all the ortho, refer all the molar endo, refer if there is probing depth more than 5 millimeters or 6 millimeters. That's what they teach them. And I can tell you as a GP, when you come out, you can take CE courses, you can do molar endos, you can do second molar endos, you can take courses and do third molar extractions, you can do IV sedations, you can do sinus lifts, you can do all on four. As a GP, legally, you can do anything that you want to that a specialist doing, except for the oral surgery cases that are being done in the OR. But you can do all the ortho that you want to do. And for me, when I realized this, okay, so my license as a GP, as a DDS, allows you to do all of these complex procedures, but the school will tell you to refer them out because it's all a business by the end of the day. You need to understand. And because of this, when you look at this whole scenario, you see that you're paying more money in student loans and you've been told to do less complex clinical procedure. So if you want to do it, become a specialist. But as a GP, I can tell you, if you're willing to take good CE courses that are also taught by specialists and you pay the same specialist money. For example, if you want to take a molar endo course or third molar, you're going to be spending like 8 to 10,000 in a C courses and paying the same specialists, right? So now you're paying them more money to get the same education that the dental school should have given you. Well, that's one thing, but I'm saying as a GP, there's still hope. You can come out, take courses, and do the procedures that you want to do, learn it on through C's. So that's one point of it. Now, the other point that you would ask is that, okay, Adriel, you gave us the depressing news, like, okay, you're telling us dental schools are holding us back. What's the way out? Well, first of all, I'll tell you, since there's a transition that a lot of corporates and big companies are taking over, whenever there's a transition, there is chaos, there's disturbance, and you can't understand what's going on because everything's shifting. But whenever there's chaos, there's opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity if you understand some patterns and some things that are going on. So dental schools might be holding you off from learning more, and they push you to either refer or go to a specialty. But there are schools, there are programs which are more clinically brave, I would say. For example, students who go to schools in the south of America, like Texas, Louisiana, they get more surgical training. I talk to a lot of surgeons. They said if you want to have good surgical training, go to the south. Go to LSU. Go to Shreveport. These kind of places where you will go, because people up there, the south part of America is still more tradition-based, and it's less legalistic. So if you go to New York, California, if you go to the coast, you would get more legal cases. The lawyers are chasing after dentists. They are trying to put lawsuits on you. People are more educated about dentistry, and they want to come and complain and put lawsuits and all of that. But on the other hand, if you go towards south, it's still more religious, it's still more tradition-based. And as a dentist, you can do much more surgical stuff. That's why I've met students from LSU who were coming out with about 300 extractions in DDS, which is a large number as compared to other schools. Students in University of Alabama are doing a lot of surgical cases as well, and I was astonished. So when you realize this, if you have the opportunity to go to a school which lets you do more clinical training, it would be a better deal for the amount of money you're paying. So this is something you want to research when you're applying to school or getting acceptances. But by the end of the day, if you get accepted to a school which is very research-oriented and very less clinical skill, is fine. Just go and get your degree, come out, take more C courses, and practice. Now, if you want to keep your loan to the minimum, one of the things, if you're a citizen of US, you can apply into Air Force. So you can apply into Air Force, and the Air Force will pay off all your student tuition fee. The other side of the coin is when you graduate, you have to work with them for a certain years, about 3 to 5 years. You have to serve in the Air Force or in the armed forces for that, which is a good deal as well. On the other hand, the second option is that if you come out with a student loan of 800,000 because you had loan from your undergrad or a master's that you did and then dental school, and you add up and you have $1 million loan, what you can do is you can go and work in a community health center which is recognized by the state for student reimbursement, student loan reimbursement. So what happens, if you work for a non-profit organization like a community health center, which is recognized by the state and the federal system, if you work for 8 years with them, you can apply for student loan forgiveness. So that's one way. I'm not going to go into too much detail because you would have to talk to a community health center, but there are options to pay off your student loan through that. Now, the third option for people like me who are immigrants who come here, people who don't have visas and took loan from back home or took private loans. Now you come out with a $400,000 of loan and you can't go into Air Force. Community health center is not making sense. So the third option you can do is sign up with in a rural a dental practice, which is a little bit in the rural area. So I know individuals who are working in Missouri in places where the airport is 3 hours away. They are working in very distant, remote area, somewhere in the mountains of Pennsylvania, and they are willing to go into West Virginia and work there. And work in such places, you can make higher salary because they're working in a place where the patient to doctor ratio is high. There are less doctors and more patients, so you can do more work up there and see a higher volume of patient and make more salary. And that is one of the ways you can earn more money and pay it off. And sometimes people would sign up with corporates, DSOs, and they will give you sign-up money or will pay off your student loan. And that's the third way you can pay off your loans faster. The other thing is, if you're smart enough, you can talk to a dental CPA. You can talk with them, and sometimes every state laws are different, and you need to understand the tax system in US is not that simple. And if you have a good CPA, he can help you pay off these loans really faster. One other thing I'll tell you, that US system overall, dentistry or any other thing, always benefit practice owners or business owners more than somebody who's a salary based. Somebody who's working for a salary, he pays off a larger number of tax as compared to somebody who's a practice owner, who's a business owner. He can get tax write-off. There's a lot of different ways they can get tax write-off, and you're a business owner. So these are some of the things that a dental CPA can help you with. And once you look at the bigger picture a little bit, and it takes some time because you are a dental student, you've been taught to do a class 2, you've been taught to understand centric occlusion, and then you graduate and you see $500,000 loan, and you're not understanding that dentistry outside of dental school is very fast-paced, very high demanding, and you have to pay your bills and you have to be efficient with your dentistry, and this creates a lot of stress in fresh graduates. So the reason I'm making this video is that I'm telling you, yes, it is chaotic because it's a transition going on. And I'm not saying any one side is wrong, any one place is wrong, because to be honest, I migrated to US and I would say it was one of the best decisions of my life. Whether the system is right or wrong, whatever you feel, I feel it's still a better system than a lot of other places. At least I have the freedom to make a video about the system. In some other part of the world, you can't even do that. So personally, I still believe the system has more pros than cons, but you can't be naive. You can't be naive. If you would be naive, you will end up making decisions that won't be financially sustainable. It will affect your clinical life and it will affect your personal life as well. And in order to sustain good clinical practice or to learn more, you have to invest in C's. You have to take courses. And in order to take those courses, you need to have money. If you already have a lot of loans from your dental school, you won't be able to invest on your C courses. And if you're going into specialization, you need to plan that if I'm going to be coming out as a specialist at the age of 40, at the age of 35, at the age of 30, it makes a lot of difference, because if you're going for an oral surgery residency, that's 6 years long, it's going to prolong everything. So by the end of the day, I'll give you one advice that a lot of older, honest dentists told me, that the earlier you will start a business in US or become a business owner, the earlier you will understand the tax system, the earlier you will understand how to deal with IRS, the earlier you will realize how US is being run. And once you understand that, you will be able to make better decisions for yourself, for your family, and in your clinical life as well. And I hope this video makes sense to you. This is a very complex topic, and I tried to scrape off a little bit of the surface of it. And hopefully, I'll see you in a more meaningful video. Take care.